Hi, I want to talk about the book How We Fight for Our Lives, which is a memoir by Saeed Jones. So, this is a memoir, which means that it is nonfiction, and we have our author kind of looking back on his life as a teenager. He starts telling his story when he's about 15 or 16, and then talks about these different moments in his life where he was trying to figure out who he was as a person. And then we travel kind of through his life, finishing high school, going through college, and then it ends with this loss that he has in his life. One of his loved ones passes away, and he discusses how that makes him feel. What's interesting about the way that he writes this book is that Jones is a poet, and so he writes this book in a series of what's called vignettes. So it's short little snapshots of his life, and it is told in chronological order, but he jumps around a lot in the years. So he starts out, in the early 2000s and then skips forward a few more years. He also kind of jumps around in locations depending on where he's living at the time. And the main story that he's telling is just how he figured out who he was. He is a black man. He is also a gay man. And he talks about these different historical events that happened and really shaped him and made him very fearful for his own life as he was growing up. He talks about, the news and learning about the story of a black man who was murdered. He also talks about this story of a gay man who was also murdered. And since he is both, he just doesn't know kind of what hope he has. If it's very well done in the way that he writes. He's very honest about it. He's very open. He's also very raw in the way that he describes a lot of things. So kind of be ready for that if you decide to pick this book up. But it's an excellent read, and I recommend How We Fight for Our Lives as your next read.